what you got in front of you right here is a box, and I am gonna unbox my coffee. Got this Spyderco Tenacious, the first video I did, and I'm gonna get right into it. Okay, now this is done. Get rid of this. Notice I did take the pocket clip off. For those of you who happen to see that video or are interested in this knife, check out the video. I'll link to it below. I complained in that video about the pocket clip, and I took it off almost immediately, and while I haven't used it with the pocket clip on, I can tell you it has not bothered me leaving it off. The fact that it doesn't have one has not been an issue so far. Just put it down my pocket, no big deal. Alright, here we go. So, first things first, statement out of the way, and let's get right to the good stuff. Yeah. Okay. Now, I wish you could smell this, because just right out of the box it smells great. It really does have a very nice aroma. First important aspect of really coffee in general is you gotta have good quality. Now, obviously, you know, from the beginning of the process, it starts on a farm. You need farms that are dedicated to making good quality products. You need companies that respect those farms, pay them well for their labor and, you know, their work. And you know, there's a lot of factors that go into making a good bean, like a good coffee bean. I might maybe do a separate video on that, but probably I'll just provide some links below for where you can learn more about that. It's a long process of explanation, but you know, there are a lot of variables that go into making a good quality coffee. I mean, you know, elevation is important, the soil type is important, growing time is important. I mean, the way that the coffee is processed. Again, there's a lot more information than I'm going to give you here. I won't go into it. You'll notice here, one thing you should always be looking for is, I mean, it's not going to focus, I don't think, but can I get it to focus? Well, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. You'll see that there's a roast date here. You probably can't read that, and you might be able to. It's kind of blurry. Pay attention to this, and really, truly try to avoid buying coffee that's been roasted longer than 2 weeks from the day you're purchasing it. It loses a lot, okay? Try to avoid that, okay? Some other things to note here. You're going to see like there's an elevation here. That stuff may or may not matter to you depending upon how into this you get. But one thing you might want to pay attention to is the name of the coffee. Okay, so you'll see here, this is some crazy coffee. Like, I'm not even going to try pronouncing it. I know that it's all African. This is indicative of it being what is called in the business single origin, okay? A lot of the stuff you're going to buy on the supermarket shelves are blends, okay? So the company, whether it's someone like Dunkin' Donuts or whether it's someone like Folgers or whether it's someone like Starbucks, takes beans from various farms. They might be all in Latin America. They might all be in the same country. They might not be. But they're going to take those beans, they'll roast them accordingly, and then they'll blend them together, and they'll, you know, sort of play around with it. That's all well and good, and plenty of companies make some very good blends. But if you really want to be a purist about coffee, and I'm admittedly a bit of a purist, and perhaps admittedly a little bit of a snob about it, if you want to be a purist about coffee, you really want to go with beans that are all from the same farm, okay, single origin. There's one point of origin for the beans. Okay, so that's 4 minutes in. Now let me just briefly show you all the stuff I got here, because it's kind of a crazy setup. You don't need all of this, but here's some things you do need. Filtered water, okay? Cold filtered water. You can use bottled water, you can use filtered water, but try to avoid stuff in the tap, because there are some elements in tap water that will sort of distract your taste buds a little bit. You might not notice them, and you might say, oh, come on, seriously, it doesn't matter if I use tap water. I would recommend to those of you who feel that way, give a try doing this. Try making a cup of coffee, brew a cup of coffee, just one, using tap water. Clean out your system if you're using a drip coffee or your French press or whatever. Then try another one with filtered water. I'm willing to bet you might notice a difference. So take my word for it. If you can, if you can get something. I have a Brita filter here. There's plenty of other options. I think, Pure's another household name. Get some sort of filter or bottled water. It's cheap. This is something I think I paid like maybe $10 for this, and I can use it over and over again. I only have to replace the filter like every few months. It's not a big deal. These are both examples, and for people who are into coffee, they'll probably already recognize them. These are examples of what is known as a pour over. Okay, in other words, you're pouring, water over it. And really, the concept is pretty much the same as in a coffee maker. Now, you'll notice absent here is a drip pot coffee maker, like most of you probably are used to. This is a matter of control. The beauty of these devices is it allows you more control. And at first, you might be hesitant about that added power. You might not feel like you know exactly how to do it. You may not feel like you know the right way to even grind coffee or anything. For those of you that feel that way, in the next video or so, I'm going to ease all your fears about that. I'm going to show you the proper way to pour the water over. Okay, I'm going to show you what temperature you should be wanting your water. I'm going to show you how to grind it. Okay, these are two ways of doing it. These require a little bit of tinkering, and personally, I find that this is a better one for people getting into it, who are just sort of starting. This is one by Bonmac. It's a little bit easier. It doesn't require as much finesse, and the hole in this is smaller. This is Hario, and this is the go-to in a lot of high-end specialty coffee shops. I'm talking shops like Intelligentsia Coffee and Tea, which is a specialty roaster which is operated primarily out of Chicago, but they also have, I think now 3 branches in Los Angeles. If you are living in Chicago or in Los Angeles and you have not been to Intelligentsia, you need to go. Seriously, do yourself a favor, go now. Another roaster I can think of in Oakland, just across from San Francisco, would be Blue Bottle. They have a location in New York City now, I think. There's others. I should say there are others. There are others, so there's Stumptown, which is located primarily in Seattle and also in Portland. But I think they have a branch in New York as well, in one of the hotels in Manhattan. You're going to see either this or this in a lot of those branches, and you'll see baristas using them appropriately. But it takes a little bit of playing around with till you get the hang of it. It may not be for you. You might want to look into something like this. This is a very small French press. I had a nicer one, which it's a long story, but it was broken by someone. Like I said, long story, won't get into it. But this is a very simple concept. It doesn't require much playing around on your part. You're going to take your coffee. You're going to grind it, okay? Pretty coarse grind. You're going to dump it in here in the bottom. You'll add water. Let it sit for 4 minutes, right? And then this little thing on the top, you'll see it just fits on. It's a plunger. You just plunge right down. And then, all the coffee is down there. All the water's up here. Pour it out. Good to go. Easy peasy mac and cheesy. That's easy. I'll have a video. What I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do a video on how to brew with both of these. And you can see that this one, you can kind of tell this is starting to. Did you see that? There's some cracking in the. This is some sort of synthetic. It's not glass. It looks sort of like a fiberglass. That's dirty. I bought this thing because it was cheap. It's been alright, but I miss my other one. Anyway, I'll do a video using these. I'll probably go with this one because this one's the same technique. It doesn't, it's not as easy to mess it up. This one, a little bit more tricky. I'll go over how I do it, and I'll do a video on that. So I'm going to stop it here, and in the next video is going to be instructional. So yeah, well, the next few videos are going to be instructional. I'll continue talking more about this. Definitely check out the next part coming right on up. Alright, here we go.